This is another episode of Scripture Meets Life. You have heard the saying, the rubber meets the road. The question always is, despite everything else, you are consistent reading the scriptures. Your participation in the church regularly and everything else that you do in an honor of your journey to Christianity. The question the scriptures has posed before us is it says you will know them by their fruits. So my question to you is what type of fruits people know you? Is that the person who struggles, financially struggles in relationship? They've been in seventh, sixth, or whatever number of relationship you've gone through, and yet you cannot find the solution, or you don't have any. You're known for your anger. You're known for your bitterness. What fruits describes you? How does people know you? But today I want to give you another tip on how you can take a scriptures and apply it so you can start changing the narrative about the fruits you bear or those are known of you. I know a mango tree when I see one because its fruits tells me that's a mango tree. I can relate the fruit it bears in the structure of the fruit. I know a pineapple plant because when I see the structure of the pineapple plant, I know the fruit it will bear. I know a papaya because I know the structure of a papaya tree, and therefore I know the fruit that it will bear. I know a banana tree. When I see a banana tree, I know that is a banana tree, and so it will bear that fruit. And so it is our lives. People know us and know the type of fruits we bear. But the question is, can you change? Can you change your anger and bring joy to your life? Can you change your financial instability and bring freedom to financial freedom in your life? Can you change the narrative of your relationship? Can you change the narrative of your employment? Can you change the narrative of your professional life? And can you change the narrative of your spiritual journey as well? I want to share with you two scriptures which speaks of the same. One scripture comes from the book of Luke 6:29. You must be familiar with that scriptures. It talks about this idea when somebody slaps you in one cheek, turn on the other cheek. And if they want to take your coat, don't don't hide the shirt from them. It means give the shirt as well if they want the jacket. And what I like, what is Matthew tells us, he says, but I tell you, do not resist evil. He begins with a different perspective. And he said, if anyone slaps you, you on the right cheek, gives them the left. Turn them the other cheek also. That's Matthew 5:39. It's a very interesting dynamic of conversation is taking place there. And many scriptures, many teachers have providing different meaning for that conversation. This is where scripture meets life. Today, I want to take it in a practical application. Today, my wife, she have a supplier who provides her with contracts. And when she received a call from the supplier, and the supplier said, listen, your account is in suspense. So I have some contracts here I want to pass on to you, but I cannot do it because your account is in suspense. And she's like, what happened? They're like, oh, because you have not complete your background check, updated your background check. And she's like, I just received an email this morning which says that your background check need to be done. You have 60 days to do it. So how can it be suspended when I have a grace period of 60 days? And I will get into it sometimes today. Or I was planning to do it this week anyway because I have 60 days. They said, I don't know what happened. The key is the account is suspended and I cannot give you contracts. And she have other payment that she was expecting. And so those payments were on hold. And of course, anybody else will be frustrated by the fact. And she went through this process. She wanted to prove that she had never received any email prior to this reminding her about her expiration of that she need to renew her background check. And she went through her emails and she spent about an hour trying to prove that they made a mistake. So the scripture tells us if someone slaps you on one cheek, give them the other side. If they slap you on the right, give them the left. If they want your jacket, give them, don't withhold the shirt as well. Give it to them. Here is what the scriptures actually means. If you slap me on the right hand side, it is expected of me to be angry. It is expected of me to react violently or defensively. But the scripture says when somebody slaps you, give them the other cheek, means do the opposite of what they expect of you. When somebody wants a jacket, it is expected of me to start complaining why you need my jacket. I love this jacket. I wear it. It needs to keep me warm. I'll give you a history why you should not take it. But it says do the opposite of what is expected, which is give them the shirt as well. But Matthew gives us a different perspective that adds into the narrative in question. He says, do not resist evil. So I wanted to know, what is evil? Why and what's the relationship between the two? Evil means anything that actually denies you the right to be. Anything that denies you the right to be. If now you want to have water and you come to me and say, Alpha, can I have a bottle of water or can I drink some water? And I said, nope, you're not going to have water. It is not time to drink water. Then my action become an evil act. Not to you, but it's an evil act because it denies you the right to have the water. The right you have is the thing you need. The right you have is not measured based on the standard the society has put. The standard of saying what social status you're in, what is your name, what color of your skin, where are you coming from. All of those things are social standards. But here, the writer is not concerning to those things. It is concerning to the right you have, which is the thing you desire to have. If today you desire to be financially free, it doesn't matter how much your debt is. It doesn't matter what kind of a job you have. It doesn't matter the type of income you have. That desire to have the financial freedom is your right. You might argue with me, but that is the fact because it is God's plan for you to prosper. Prosperity means an increase, abundance of something. That's the plan he has. He have no plan to harm you. That's what we are told in the scriptures. So I don't care where you are told and who told you that you need to suffer. You need to have that pain in order to experience God's forgiveness. I'm not going to buy that. And I am not going to entertain or help you to continue to hold into that lie. Because that person who have told you that, he is acting in an evil way by denying you the right to be the very person you want to be the happier person you are endowed to be the person who is financially free, an amazing relationship, joyfulness in your life. So, you have the right to be that which you seek to be today. But here we are told anything that denies you with that right is the evil in question, as Matthew put in 5:39. So today, let's take an example I was told you. The news that my wife received that her account was suspended, and by that account being suspended, she was an income of almost a $10,000 income was supposed to come in today or tomorrow. That income is on hold. While she have obligations to meet, that some of it is dependent on that income. So the fact that she have an obligation to meet and she have an income to receive, and that income is on hold for something she didn't know until this morning, that becomes evil. And the scripture says, do not resist it, because that is the thing denies her the right to earn the income she was supposed to be paid. She have performed the job, and now they're supposed to pay her. But because the background check is not complete, or somebody made a mistake because she looked and she couldn't find an email prior to the one she received today. And the first email actually says she has 60 days. Then they send another email right thereafter and says, your background check is expired. So she can go and argue and trying to prove the fact. In doing so, she is resisting evil. Resist is pressing against or pushing against. So when you are trying to prove something, you are pushing against the very thing that denies you the right to be. So here, she is denied the right to have access to her money. But being denied that right, for her to continue to try to prove the fact she have the right, it's kind of seems funny, but for her to prove that she doesn't have the right, guess what she's doing? She's actually resist evil. Instead, you're told, do the opposite. So I went into her and I said, okay, what is the issue? So she explained the situation. I said, that's true. But why spend time proving the issue that is actually denying you the right to be? Instead of spending time to prove it, let's find how can we do it to resolve the problem. And she said, they're sending me this email, but I'm not getting the emails. And I said, okay, hold a second. Let's go through step by step. And eventually we realized that she had another email she had created. And in that email is the one that associated to the account. And because that email is associated to the account, so every time she's going to this platform to reset her account, guess what? It is not recognizing the emails that they reach out to her this morning because she thought that's the email that is associated to the account. Apparently, there was another email because we went and tried 3-4 emails and we found the one that is correct, and she was able to resolve the issue. She was no longer focusing on trying to prove that she was right. Instead, she was resolving the problem. And that's what the scripture teaches us here. If you're going through a challenge today, no matter how big or small that might be, to continue to fight against it is to resist evil, because that challenge is denying you the right of having a peace of mind, of having the joy you need. And by you trying to prove that you should have it, you're actually resisting evil. You are not turning the other cheek. You have to do the opposite. And I have shared this in my platform several times about a 3-step process, which is consistent with what the scripture says here. He said the first thing is you to acknowledge the thing you're going through. Because if you cannot name that thing, it is harder to know what you need. And by naming, as an example, in my wife's situation, what she needs is her money. That's what she really needs. She needs to have an account that is active so she can be able to get money and get new orders and be able to perform those work that is required consistent with those orders. That's all she needs. She's been doing it. And yesterday and the day before, it was all fine until this morning. Guess what? So the problem there is she doesn't have those orders. Her money is on hold. So continue to look at that problem. It might probably resolve at some time, but it might take you a few days. It might take you a month. You might be frustrated in that process, even if it takes a shorter period of time. And she was frustrated by the process. She talked to 3-4 people in the company, and none of them could solve the problem she was having. Until I said, let's not focusing on the problem. Let's turn the other side. And once you define the problem, you look for the opposite. That's what the first step is, idealization. You have to idealize the problem, meaning that you have to name the opposite of that which you want. And for my wife's case was the opposite is she needed to have a functional account so that her money can come in, new orders can come in, and she can perform the job and increase her income. Simple. And for us, instead of for just defining that process, we idealized it. You might be different, but always name the problem you have and think of its opposite. And that opposite of the problem is the ideal situation you want. No questions asked. It's not a question whether you are a Christian, whether you're a Muslim, you're a Jew. It does not matter. That is the simple process. That scriptures did not refer to any particular religion or a group of people. It just says turn the other cheek. It just says resist evil. It have nothing to do with any color of a person, no group. So if we follow that formula, first you idealize, and then the second step is introduce. You have to introduce that idea in your mind. And in the case of my wife, we said, okay, so the issue here, so if you want to introduce the idea is to say that we have a solution. Because I said, what do we want? And she explained, she said, oh, this is what I want to have. So I said, okay, we have had it. We have had it and we started focusing. By focusing our attention on having it, we were able to identify a process of solving it. And by continuing to press on having it, I said, I don't care what they're telling you to give it to them to prove. You can waste your time proving that you're right, but you will be frustrated in the process. Let's focus on solving the problem. So first you have to introduce, meaning that you pay attention to the solution you have identified. Sometimes you have to go ahead and affirm it, that I am that which I am. As one of the writers says, let the weak say, I am strong. So you have to declare that you are the very person that you seek to be. You are in possession of the very thing that you seek to possess. Once you make that declaration, you take the next step forward. The next step forward is iterate, meaning that you stay on course. In my wife's case, we stay focused on addressing the issue that was at hand. We went, yes, there was distractions. Oh, let's address this email. I said, no, let's focus on what we've started the path, which is to address the issue. And in the process, there were some issues that were popping. I said, no, let's focus on the solution. Let's focus on the solution. So we're iterating, meaning that we're focusing on that which we've idealized. And at the end, we were able to get the result by applying the three-step process in a very simple scripture that many have turned it into a circus. So today you have it. You know how to actually take that scriptures and apply in your specific situation. If you still have question, I have resources for you in the link below or up on my profile, which will further your journey on having the scriptures meet life. The rubber meets the road. And the rubber here is the scripture, while the road is the very life that you live every day, with all the circumstances, all the challenges, and all situations you're going through. Click the link below. Up on my resources, you'll find additional resources to help you in this journey. Otherwise, I encourage you to subscribe, like, share this very message with others. Because it is through sharing we continue to empower others. Not only that we empower others, we allow those whom we know or connect with to have the same knowledge. So we can encourage one another. We can promote one another in order to achieve a joyful and more meaningful life experience. And above all, there is a link for a group, my Facebook group, or a community group that I've created for this particular program, that you may be able to embark in a journey that will take you to meet like-minded people, people who are also searching, pursuing, and moving forward consistent with the scriptures in the spiritual manner. Until then, I will be back.